Hey, howdy, hey, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, come join the Amateur Hour community. And for today's video, we'll be reviewing RuPaul's Drag Race UK Series 3, Episode 6. So if that sounds good to you, make sure to hit that like button, comment down below what you thought about this episode, and go ahead and hit that subscribe button, come join the Amateur Hour community. And without further ado, let's get this video started. Alright. Before we do get into this review, I do want to remind you to go ahead and follow me on my social medias. Twitter at SamAmateurHour, Instagram at SamAmateurHour, and I also have a TikTok at SamAmateurHour. So come make sure you're following me on those different platforms and engaging in my content. So with that all being out of the way, let's get into this review. Obviously, this episode was the Snatch game, which again, of course, is always my favorite episode of every season, pretty much. It's one of the episodes I always look forward to the most. And this Snatch game overall, I will say I really enjoyed it. I thought it was well put together. I thought the queens did a great job. I don't think there was anyone who was a terrible disappointment. There were a few people who probably could have stepped it up more. We'll put it that way, but it wasn't bad. So, obviously, we're going to start out at the beginning of the episode and work our way through, and I will be providing pictures as I talk about them. So, let's get into it. First, I want to talk about, obviously, the queens walking back into the workroom after Charity Case's elimination. And, obviously, Scarlet Harlot is wiping off the message. They're talking about Charity. Honestly, I was pretty upset to see Charity go. Charity was one of my favorite queens in terms of runway and in terms just overall aesthetics, like very unique and something that we didn't have very much of on Drag Race. And overall, I just really enjoyed Charity Case on this season, so it's sad to see her go. But they're wiping off her message, and then they're talking to Scarlet and trying to go over what happened in Untucked. Because if you remember correctly, last week, obviously, Scarlet walked off in the middle of Untucked because she wasn't real happy with the way people were talking to her. And then she kind of just ignored what people were saying or would interrupt them and then leave. And they talk about that. They address it a little bit. They also talk about, obviously, the voting when RuPaul asked them all who they think should go home. Because, obviously, that was something that was an important moment in the episode for them to talk about. So, obviously, they're going to talk about it more in the next episode. And ultimately, a big part of it is a competition, so you're going to have to name someone. And I think Scarlet took it very personally, or at least that's the narrative the show is trying to take, which is understandable. I can imagine if someone said my name, I would take it probably pretty personally as well. So I completely understand where Scarlet was coming from. And I get it. I understand being upset about it. It still sucks to hear your name being called out, no matter what. Obviously, in the end, though, Scarlet did survive the lip sync and is still there for Snatch Game, so that happens. Then the queens get out of drag. They're all getting out of drag. I don't know, there's not much else I want to talk about. I really want to get to the next day. Obviously, the queens walking back into the workroom, sitting around the table, talking about things again, vanity, and all the queens are kind of throwing shade at each other. And then, of course, RuPaul comes out and introduces the mini challenge. And the mini challenge this week is going to be the reading challenge. Because reading is what? Fundamental. These are my glasses. Anyways. Obviously, the reading challenge happened. Overall, I thought this was a pretty good reading challenge. I enjoyed it. There were a lot of funny moments during it. There wasn't any prize from winning the reading challenge, I noticed, and it also didn't seem to be taken into account later in the episode, so I was a little bit confused on what happened with that. Obviously, in the end of the reading challenge, the winner was Theresa May, so congratulations to Theresa for winning the mini challenge. And I guess you're the shadiest queen? I don't know. Obviously, that happened. And then RuPaul introduces the Maxi Challenge, which this week is going to be the Snatch game, like I said. So now all the queens are starting to get ready for the Snatch game, going over the characters, doing all the things. RuPaul obviously does a walkthrough and talks to all the queens about who they're performing, who they're gonna do, all the above. And a few of them actually changed their minds after these conversations with RuPaul. So I'm gonna go over those first. First, I want to talk about Teresa. Teresa is obviously going to be doing, I forget their name, but a famous individual, I assume, from Spain. I appreciate what RuPaul was saying, where RuPaul said, do something that would... RuPaul was suggesting basically that Teresa do chair, which would have been funny, but I don't know if that's necessarily the thing Teresa wanted to go for, if that makes sense. Then, of course, we have the walkthrough with Ella Vidae, where she's originally going to do the psychic individual, and then, of course, has another character planned out. It works out. Then we get Scarlet Harlot, who has a character planned out, and then at one point, RuPaul suggests she do Macaulay Culkin, which is not something I was expecting, but hey, work. Then, of course, she does look like Macaulay Culkin out of drag, I guess, in a way, so I guess that's kind of what happened there. I don't know. Kitty Scott Claus obviously was going to do another character. RuPaul suggested she do Gemma Collins. Obviously, her sister Cheryl Hole did Gemma Collins, so she wanted to do something different, but RuPaul still suggested she do Gemma. Then, of course, we get River Medway, she says a potential character she was considering was Colleen Ballinger, and that one was something I was not expecting from River, and I could have seen that working, but obviously that's not who River went with. Overall, I've noticed a lot of the queens did change their minds once talking to RuPaul. It seems like they listened to RuPaul, but then there were some queens who didn't. And I think that shows in the actual Snatch game. Alright, so I have the list now of all the characters and who they all chose and all the things. Scarlet Harlot, like I mentioned earlier, was obviously Macaulay Culkin. I thought this was okay. It was a good choice to follow what RuPaul was suggesting. However, I do feel like this character was very one note. Again, kind of just focusing on the Home Alone aspects of Macaulay Culkin, which I guess is what he's most known for, so I get it. But I do feel like it was very one note, like I said. And also, I think part of that might have been because Ru did suggest it. It was kind of last minute for Scarlet a little bit. So I don't know if that necessarily was the smartest decision. But again, I'm not Scarlet. Speaking of Scarlet, though, I did want to mention something about her from earlier in this episode where she was saying, people were saying she was funny. And again, maybe I'm the dumb American. I am the dumb American. But to me, I don't think of Scarlet as necessarily a funny queen. I don't know if that's just me. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions down below about that. Because again, like, maybe I'm missing out on a lot of her humor. That's probably the case. But I don't see her as funny as some of the other queens. And I don't see her as a funny queen. I don't know. Anyways, next, of course, we have Kitty Scott Claus as Gemma Collins. Again, like I said, this was a smart decision. I could have seen Kitty also doing Trisha Paytas. Maybe that's more of my references, as an American. But I do think her Gemma was spot on. Great job. Great job. There was one moment, like you said, that Cheryl Hole did that character, so she didn't want to follow Cheryl Hole. But I think she did a really great job. Next, of course, we have Ella Vidae as Nigella Lawson. I thought this was a phenomenal choice. She looks just like her. Like, I was looking up pictures of Nigella. This was such a good choice. Such a good choice from Ella. Such a good choice. Next, of course, we have River Medway, like I said, as Amy Childs. Again, I'm not as up-to-date on some of these references, because obviously I'm not as familiar with British pop culture as I am with American pop culture. Even with American pop culture, I'm not most up-to-date. But I thought River did a pretty good job. I do think she kind of faded to the background, which again is probably not what she wanted to do, but it's what happens. Then, of course, we get Vanity Milan as Jocelyn G. Essen. Again, another queen who kind of faded to the background, in my opinion. It wasn't bad, but again, I think she kind of just was letting other people get more screen time. Maybe the way the edit was put together. I don't know. Maybe I'm blaming it on the edit there. But I don't know. I thought it was fine. Again, I wasn't very familiar with the reference, so it's kind of hard for me to critique it. Next, we have Crystal Versace, who was, of course, Selena Mazinski? Anyways, Crystal struggled this week, and you could tell that. And she didn't seem the most comfortable. I think she did start getting more comfortable as the Snatch game went on, and I could tell she started getting the hang of it a little bit. But because of that first part being rough, I think it shook her up a little bit. And I can see where the judges' critiques were coming from. Then finally, of course, we have Theresa May as Margarita Prakatan? Yes, Prakatan. I thought this was good. I thought it was a smart choice. However, I could have seen her following Rue's advice, and then at least Rue would have found her more funny. Maybe? I don't know. I think when RuPaul gives these queens advice, it's a good idea to listen to it, because obviously, ultimately, Rue is a big decision maker, and I'm sure production also has a play in it, but I assume Rue at least has some say in who gets eliminated. Again, maybe I'm wrong. So if you at least follow Rue's advice, maybe Rue would be less likely to eliminate you. I don't know. But that does bring the end of the Snatch game. Overall, I thought it was a fun Snatch game. Obviously, like I said, I'm not as familiar with some of these references, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching it. I thought it was funny, even though I didn't necessarily get the references. It was still funny. So, I thought that was a successful Snatch game, which was very good, because a lot of these episodes this season have not been as enjoyable for me. Maybe that's just me, but I thought this was a good one. Yeah, I was happy with it. That does bring me the end of Snatch game, like I said. Now we're going to get to the workroom and then the runway. In the workroom the next day, obviously the queens are all getting ready for the runway, and then they all have the conversation about their coming out stories, what it was like for them, and all the above. Obviously coming out is something that many people in the queer community have to deal with at some points in their lives. Again, I do think we are starting to get to a place, again, we're nowhere near where we need to be, to where it's not as big a deal. Again, like I said, I am coming from a place of privilege, so maybe I'm not the most, maybe I don't understand everything, but, I think we're starting to make progress, and I think having these conversations on TV are important, and that's why I think it is such a great thing for Drag Race to have these conversations, and because we have people who watch Drag Race who aren't part of the queer community, obviously, and if you have more people talking about it who aren't in the queer community, then it will become less taboo, and then slowly making more progress, which is why it's such an important thing to talk about when we have these big forms of media and big platforms to have these conversations on. Anyways, that was just me going on my little soapbox there. So now we're gonna go ahead and get to this runway, where the queens all had to dress in fruity drag, I guess? Fruit-themed drag? Sure. First, I'm gonna talk about RuPaul's look. I thought RuPaul looked great. I really liked her makeup. I like the color combinations. I like the wig. I will say it wasn't my favorite Ru look, but it wasn't the worst. I thought it was a good look. Now we're going to go through the queen's looks, and I will give you my opinions. First, I'm going to talk about Scarlet Harlot. This look did not give me lime. I don't know what she was going for here. I almost wish she had done something where, you know how, like, limes, like all citrus fruits, I guess, have segments, I think is the term? The individual slices, I think is what it's called. I would have loved to do something involving with that. Maybe like making different parts of your body, different segments of the fruit. I don't know. Maybe you can have like the outer parts be the hard shell, and then like slowly into the center with the, I don't know. It was an idea with the seeds. Anyways, but Scarlet Harlot's look was kind of disappointing to me. It didn't really give me fruit. It gave me, like they were saying, lettuce. It's that I didn't really like that look, honestly. In my opinion. Again, I mean, just me. Next, we have Kitty Scott Claus. I really like this look. I love the cherries. I thought they were very cute. I thought she looked really good, and it was kind of different for Kitty. It was different from what we've been getting from her. So I really enjoyed this look, and I thought she looked great. Next, we have Ella Vidae, who of course was in a watermelon-styled dress. And I thought this was really, really good. She was showing her body. She had a good shape. I love the cape in the back. I thought this was good. I really, really liked it, and the wig was great. No problems there for Ella. Next, we have River Medway, who is doing a fruit bowl look, I guess you could say. It was a bit basic for me. Again, I'm not a professional drag queen, but I do wish she had elevated this look, elevated this look a little bit. I don't know. She could have made it bigger, I think, is ultimately, because it was just small fruits on her top. And I wish she had incorporated fruits throughout the entire thing if you are going to do a fruit bowl type thing. Or fruit salad type thing. I don't know. Or just pick one fruit and focus on that. That could have worked as well, like many of these other queens did. Next, of course, I'm going to be talking about Vanity Milan. I like this look. I thought she looked great. I do wish the fruit was a bigger piece of this outfit. Like I said, because it was a fruit-themed runway. And I wanted to see fruits all over your garment. And I didn't get that from Vanity. And that's where I got a little bit like, It was still good. It was still a good look. But I do think she could have pushed it further. Next, we have Crystal Versace, who is doing a dragon fruit inspired look. Like Michelle said, I do feel like we've gotten this silhouette from her almost every week. And I kind of wanted her to do something different. I think Michelle was very on top of it with that critique, and I really appreciated her for that. I do think Crystal looked great. I mean, Crystal will always look great. I just wish she had done something kind of different. You know who I missed on this runway? Again, I always miss these queens on these runways now. Victoria Scone. Imagine how good she would look. Oh my god, she campy queen with the fruit runway? Yes, please. And then, of course, obviously, Charity Case, who is just eliminated, would have done something so unique on this runway that I really wish we had gone. Anyways, one more queen now. We have Theresa May, who is doing a peach-inspired fruit look. I like this a lot. I like the headpiece a lot. I thought that was really great, and I like the garment. Yeah, no, I liked it. It wasn't bad. I thought Theresa looked great. I enjoyed it. Actually, Theresa's look, I realized Vanity's look was different from Theresa, but it reminded me of Theresa's, but it wasn't as impressive as Theresa's, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Yes, that's what I'm going for there. Again, that does bring me to the end of my fashion part review. So now we're going to get to the judges' critiques and the placements and all the above. Obviously, in the end, they do critique every single queen. And obviously find out who the tops and who the bottoms are. The tops this week, obviously, are going to be Ella Vidae, Kitty Scott Claus, I guess you could say Scarlett was the other top. I don't know. I think she was safe. So it was basically Ella and Kitty in the top, which I agree with. The bottom three, obviously, were going to be Crystal Versace, Theresa May, and River Medway. I don't necessarily agree with this bottom three. I would have picked Theresa as safe because I do think the mini challenge should have been taken into account. Because like I mentioned earlier in this video, they didn't give her anything for winning the reading challenge. So why wouldn't you incorporate that into the final critiques for Theresa and allowed her to be safe? I don't know if that's just me. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions down below. Again, maybe that's just me, but... so obviously in the end, that's the bottom three and the top two. In the end, the winner is going to be decided, and the winner this week is going to be Ella Vidae. So congratulations to Ella on a very well-deserved win. Great job on the Snatch game. Really, really great job. Which does mean Kitty Scott Claus is safe, and obviously Scarlet Harlot is safe, and Vanity Milan is safe. So the bottom three, obviously being Crystal, like I said, Theresa, and River. In the end, RuPaul does save Crystal, so the bottom two is going to be River Medway and Theresa May. Again, for me, I wouldn't have put Teresa in the bottom. I would have probably... Maybe Vanity, because Vanity kind of faded to the back again. And also her look wasn't as impressive as some of the other queens. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Again, leave a comment down below what you thought. But in the end, obviously the bottom two is going to be, like I said, River and Teresa. And they're going to be lip syncing to Shout by the guest judge, Lulu. Right from the beginning of this lip sync, you can tell Teresa messed up her headpiece, her wig. She was trying to do a reveal, and I think she just messed it all up. And I think that really threw her off and really messed with her head as she was trying to do the lip sync, obviously, because her wig was never in the really correct place, obviously. And then you have River, who I thought was doing a pretty good job. I enjoyed River's lip sync. It wasn't great, but in my opinion, it was better than Teresa's, if we're being honest here. That's just my opinion on this lip sync. Obviously, in the end, I'm not the one who makes the final decision. It's obviously RuPaul. And RuPaul decides to eliminate both of them this week. So we end up having a double elimination this week with River Medway and Therese May. And I'm really surprised by that. I wish we had gone to see River continue on. Because between the two, I would have eliminated Teresa. I agree with that. But I would have saved for River. Anyways, that does bring end my review. We are at a top 5 now, so again, we will be wrapping up this season very quickly. Next week, we do have the Fugly Dress Ball, so that'll be interesting to see. Yeah, that does bring the end of my review. Yeah. Again, leave a comment down below what you thought about this episode. Make sure to like this video if you liked it. Follow me on social media, Twitter at SamAmateurHour, Instagram at SamAmateurHour, and TikTok at SamAmateurHour. And YouTube, of course, you're already here. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Come join the Sam Amateur Hour community. And yeah, like I said, brings the end of my video. I will be back here tomorrow with my Canada's Drag Race review. And also, I might have a special video coming out tonight because we have a newly announced show. Well, newly announcements within the show of Queen of the Universe. So I am going to either put that video out tonight or tomorrow. I'm not sure. But we have some stuff to go over. Like, share, comment, subscribe, follow me on social media, and I'll be back here later. Bye, guys.